So when you add the power, the airplane will want to veer a little to the left, just a tiny bit, so you'll have to use just a little bit of right rudder to offset that. And go ahead and add the full power, and we'll start accelerating down the runway. Make sure the throttle's all the way in.
All the way, got it.
Yep. Friction lock tight. You're watching outside, every now and then checking the airspeed, back outside, in and out with your eyes. Here's 50, 55. Now start pulling back and bring the nose off the ground. Pull back more, more, pull back more. That's it. Hold the nose right about here. Don't let it go any higher. And because of the way the propeller turns, you have to hold a little bit of right rudder all the time in the climb to keep it straight. You can see that the airplane wants to
I can feel that,
yaw to the left, so you have to offset that with a little bit of right rudder pressure all the time. And then relax your grip completely on the controls, and let's see whether the nose stays right where we want it, which is right here. If it didn't, we could trim so it would. And it looks like we're pretty good. So you can see it just takes a really light touch on the controls. And we're climbing out at around 80, and that's about what we would want. We could climb out a little faster, meaning that we would climb faster. This shows our rate of climb at 500 feet a minute, just by raising the nose an inch higher on the horizon. Go ahead and try that, raise the nose an inch higher. And hold it right there. And if you trim a little bit, like that, that's probably all it takes. And you relax your grip, you'll see the nose probably stays right there. And in about 15 seconds, we'll check the airspeed, and we'll see that slows down a little bit. And we see our rate of climb has increased a little bit. As you're turning, watch the nose, hold it steady. Look in the direction of your turn, and then check the airspeed. And then back to the nose, the direction of the turn and the airspeed. So you're developing a scan, collecting information that allows you to manage the controls successfully. Climbing out straight ahead again. And still you need a little bit of right rudder all the time in the climb to offset the torque.
Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel my foot just resting, kind of, just with a little pressure.
When we make a left turn, instead of using left rudder in a climbing left turn, all we need to do is relax the right rudder. Go ahead and try that. Lift up the left wing a little bit, check for airplanes out there, and then roll into a left turn, watching the nose. Don't let it go up or down. Remember, there's an overbanking tendency. You'll have to counteract that a little bit by turning just a little bit to the right. See how the nose wants to drop? Bring it, pull back a little bit to hold it up where it was, a little higher on the nose. And don't let the bank get any steeper than this by turning a little bit to the right to offset that overbanking tendency. To the left, look under the right wing for other airplanes. See there's nobody out there, and roll right into a right turn. Push the right rudder, watch the nose, don't let it go up or down. Remember, there's an overbanking tendency that you'll have to compensate for. Now watch the nose, hold it steady on the horizon. Look where we're going for other airplanes, and then the airspeed. And if the airspeed were too slow, say it was 60, we just lower the nose a little bit. If we're a little too fast, we'd raise the nose a little bit, hold it there. There's a lag in the airspeed indicator, 10, 15, 20 seconds. So once you make an adjustment to the pitch or the nose position on the horizon, you have to wait. And then check it in about 20 seconds. To level out, what we do is we look outside, we lower the nose about 2 to 3 inches. At the same time, pull the power back just a little bit, an inch or two on the throttle till you hear a change in the sound of the engine. Push the nose down. That's lowering the pitch. Power back a little bit. That's good on the power. Lower the nose another inch or two lower. A little lower in the nose, still lower. A little lower. Push down, push forward a little bit more. Get the nose down another inch or two lower. Right there. Hold it there. And then roll this trim wheel up just a little bit. That way you can find just how much trim you need to keep the nose where you want it. So push the nose back where it was. Trim the wheel up a little bit more. Roll it up. Now if you're pushing forward,
roll it up.
If you're pushing forward on the controls, you have to roll that trim wheel up to relieve that pressure. And if we have to pull back on the controls to keep the nose where we want it, then we would roll the trim wheel down. And we can see that we're climbing. Look outside, lower the nose another inch. Just push forward and lower the nose. Hold it there, and then trim that wheel, trim it up, roll that wheel up a little bit, and then check it again. What we want is a nose position, which we call pitch, which gives us 0 vertical speed. And we can see the nose floating up again. Push it back down, roll that wheel up a little bit more. It takes about a minute or so for the airplane to stabilize and level flight. Then once you get it, you can take your hands off the controls, and the nose stays right where it needs to be for 0 vertical speed. When we're level and we're making a left turn, then we need left rudder. And when we're right turn, we need right rudder. That keeps us coordinated, meaning that the tail moves around at the same rate as the nose does.
Okay. So during level flight, you just use the rudders to do your minute turns. Okay.
Right. During level flight, in a left turn, you need left rudder, right turn, right rudder. In a climb, then it's all right rudder.
Got it.
Or no right rudder for a left climbing turn. Look to the right for other airplanes. Let's roll into a right turn. As you do, watch the nose. It'll want to drop a little bit. Don't let it. There'll be an overbanking tendency. You have to compensate for that. Watch the nose, where we're going. And now the vertical speed instead of the airspeed. We want to keep this at 0. Where we're going, the nose, where we're going, and the vertical speed. If you see we're down a little bit, look outside, raise the nose just an inch or so, hold it there, and wait. There's about a 15, 20-second lag. And that way scan the nose, where we're going, and the vertical speed. And develop that scan so you collect information and translate it into control pressure. If we want to descend, what we do is we transition into a cruise descent mode. We pull the power back until it's right at 2,000 RPM.
Yep.
As you reduce the power, the nose will want to drop, and go ahead and let it. So pull the power back, 1,000 RPM. Relax your grip on the controls and let the nose drop on its own. Pulling that throttle back a couple inches. Feel the nose want to drop, then just go ahead and let it. That green arc on the tack is the area where we do not need carburetor heat, but now we're below it, so pull the carburetor heat all the way out. And what we want to find is a nose position which gives us an airspeed of about 100.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit fast.
So just pull up a little bit.
Raise the nose just slightly, and then trim the wheel down to keep it there. That's the runway. When we're headed this way, we're headed south, and the runway is called 19. Instead of 190 degrees, this is called 19. All right, let's make a left turn. Look to the under your left wing tip for the airplanes. Start a left turn. A descent, you need left rudder and a left turn, right rudder and a right turn.
Yep.
Watch the nose. It looks different than it did before.
Yeah.
Don't let it go up or down. It'll want to drop a little bit. You may have to offset that with a little back pressure. There'll be an overbanking tendency. Then develop your scan again, the nose, where you're going, and now the airspeed. Nose, where you're going, and the airspeed, keeping the airspeed at 100. Left wing tip for airplanes, and then roll into a left climbing turn. Just relax that right rudder, no left rudder needed. Watch the nose, don't let it go up or down. You can see as you bank how the nose wants to drop, so as you bank you have to pull back a little bit more. The nose back up a little higher. So be prepared for that as you roll into a bank, start pulling back on the controls to offset the loss of lift. It goes into pulling us into the turn, around in the turn. So when we come in for a landing, we use our flaps. And there's surfaces inside the wings, both sides, just like the ailerons, but they come down together, and they create more lift on the wing and allow us to descend at a steeper angle, but at a slow airspeed. So we'll practice now transitioning to an approach configuration, and we begin by pulling the carburetor heat all the way out. Pull the power back to 1,700 RPM. The nose will want to drop, but don't let it. Hold it right where it is. You're using back pressure to keep the nose here. I'll roll the trim wheel down to relieve that back pressure.
1 second. Alright, about 1,700.
Hold the nose up another inch or two higher. A little higher on the nose. We want to begin slowing it down to 80. Hold the nose up another couple inches higher. Now this flap lever has 3 different notches. 1, 2, and 3. So we're just going to lower the first notch. And as you do, lower the nose an inch or two lower.
Yeah.
Lower it. There's the first notch. Lower the nose. Push forward and lower the nose. Push forward. Lower the nose. Right there. Hold it right there. Now you're probably pushing forward on the controls to relieve that pressure. Roll the trim wheel up until that pressure goes away.
Yeah.
All right. Lower the next notch, and as you do, lower the nose 2 inches at the same time. Lower the nose 2 inches. Lower the nose more. All right, like that. That's good. Trim the wheel up to relieve that pressure. Let's start a right turn. Look under the right wing tip. Start a right turn. As you do, lower the next notch of flaps and lower the nose at the same time an inch. Lower the nose, lower the nose, lower. Right about there. Stay in the turn. There's an overbanking tendency you have to compensate for by turning a little bit in the other direction. And notice if you're pushing forward on the controls. If you are, roll that wheel up slowly until you relieve that pressure. Let's fly right down the shoreline.
Yeah.
And what we're looking for is a nose position or a pitch, which gives us a speed of about 70. So we're a little fast, so raise the nose just slightly. Hold it here. Roll the trim wheel down to relieve that pressure. Check the airspeed, still a little fast, raise the nose another inch. Hold it there, roll the trim wheel down. Eventually you'll get the pitch or the nose position just where you need it for a speed of 70. Now we can control our rate of descent with power. We're going down at 700 feet a minute. If you add power, bring the power up a couple hundred RPM. But hold the nose right where it is. A little more power. There you go. You'll see that eventually that'll reduce our rate of descent if we keep the speed at 70. You have to raise the nose a little bit to keep the speed at 70. Hold it there, trim if needed. Let's start a right turn and fly down the long bridge. Now this is the configuration we use coming in for a landing.
Yeah.
Long bridge can be our simulated runway, making a turn right over it. We'll come in for our landing. Watch the nose, where you're going, and the airspeed. We like the speed at 70. We're still a little fast. Raise the nose another inch or two higher. Hold it there, and trim the wheel down to keep it there. Start a gentle bank all the way around over City Beach and up the creek toward the runway. And we'll continue our descent on our turn right up the creek toward the runway, and when we get to 3,000 feet, bring the power back up to 2,400 and adjust the pitch up and the trim for level flight. Keeping up the bank right down the creek now. Now push in the carburetor heat. Push in the throttle, bring it up toward the top of the green arc, right about there. Yeah, the nose wants to come up, that's fine. Hold it right here and trim off any pressure. Now we're looking for 0 here on the vertical speed. Take a right turn and fly down this railroad track parallel to the runway. Now we use all the maneuvers you learned up at altitude as we come in for a landing. Watch the nose, hold it steady, don't let it drop anymore. Then check the control pressure, relax your grip, see if you have to trim them. Continue our turn around so we're perpendicular to the runway. Lower the next third of the flaps and lower the nose another inch. Lower the nose more and trim, level the wings. Level the wings.
Level the wings.
Transition to approach configuration. Pull on the carburetor heat. Pull the power back to 1700 RPM and hold the nose up 2 inches higher. Little higher in the nose, little higher in the nose. Roll the trim wheel down to relieve that pressure. Little higher in the nose. Right about there. We want to see the speed at lower the first third of the flaps, lower the nose an inch, and trim, and start a left turn. Then check the control pressure, relax your grip, see if you have to trim them. Continue our turn around so we're perpendicular to the runway. Lower the next third of the flaps and lower the nose another inch. Lower the nose more and trim, level the wings. The runway, we'll bring the a little bit here. And check the trim, see if you have to trim any more. Hold the throttle with your right hand and reduce the power a little bit more. Hold the nose just about where it is. As you reduce the power, the nose may want to drop. Come in and we'll make this landing together.
Yeah.
Power all the way back. All the way back in the power. Just level out above the runway. Follow me through on the landing.
Oh.
And as it settles, pull more back pressure. More and more and more. More. Now we're taxiing